I want to start this week with a thought.
I'm really excited.
/ quote.
Real excited about it.
From the prolific Kenny Rogers. Sing along. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be enough time for counting when the dealing's done.
You gotta know. You gotta hold them.
You gotta learn.
And you gotta know when to fold them.
You do.
This episode sponsored by Dr. Pepper and Diet Pepsi.
I had a thought the other day. It was dangerous already to be thinking. Early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought started here, and I'll take it somewhere else. I was wondering, I said, when the people wrote the Bible, did they know they were writing the Bible? And I started thinking, when people are coming up with these world-changing moments, do they ever realize the impact of what they're doing? When Michael Jackson was writing Thriller, did he know he was writing Thriller?
I think he did.
I think it takes a special person not only to do that, it's like a new level of special to identify. Like, we are in that moment right now, ladies and gentlemen. We are making history. It's like a few in history. It's like the space launches. This is a moment that's going to echo through time. We are now going to space.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of underlying cultural moments, and even personal moments, even in your life with your family. You could look back now and see crossroads and pivot points and points that really was that was a defining moment. It'd be an incredible superpower to be able to identify those moments in your life. I was thinking about that the other day, driving up here. I'm like, it'd be great to know when you're in one of those great moments that's a key point of your life.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about that. That was how my brain worked. I was like, when they were writing the Bible, did they know they were writing the Bible? It's nuts.
That would be pretty cool to be able to identify.
I guess
especially in lower level stuff too, like our company. There's been some pretty defining moments. Have we been able to know those moments? We know when when the successes happen or the negatives happen, in that moment we know, but it's the things that lead, that led up to those kind of moments. It'd be kind of cool to be like, man, that decision we just made, that's a turning point for this company.
Yes, weird. It's easy to identify the things that go wrong. And maybe we talk about this before so many times. Maybe we just gotten spoiled. We as society gotten spoiled of things generally going right. If you're jaded and frustrated, you could say things normally go wrong, but generally things go right. Generally, you wake up, you're fine, you're happy, you go through your routine, and a lot of times things don't really deviate from that. And we're real quick to identify anything that the slightest change, that. So maybe it's some kind of sense of awareness and reflection. When can you identify the good? This right here is an excellent moment. This right here is awesome. I don't know.
Food for thought. So
what's up, man?
I'm just chilling, man. I'm chilling. We've been very busy.
That's good.
It's a great thing, but I'm kind of just it's a nice moment every week to sit down and just take half an hour, 40 minutes out and just kind of just relax. The dust is settling, at least for the moment.
Yeah, it could feel weird sometimes. I'd stay I got a bajillion things going on. I'll leave here, go elsewhere to do more stuff, and then get home, and there's more stuff to do. But maybe I'm not different in this way, but it's once I sit down, I can't. I gotta stay in go mode, or else when I sit down, that sit down time is gonna be very long and hard to pull me up from. Mm-hmm. So it's I gotta stay with some task ahead, some goal ahead, because I get comfortable real quick.
Yeah.
And maybe I get comfortable with the work. It's I get comfortable with that routine, comfortable with that hurry type of thing. And then it's once I sit down, I'm man, to get me back up, it's going to be wild.
Mm-hmm. I used to have a mother-in-law before the current mother-in-law, the ex-mother-in-law. Is that a thing? The ex-mother-in-law? And she was one of those people that were just go, 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 always. It doesn't matter if it's a day off. It doesn't matter if you're on vacation. It doesn't matter if it's during the week working. You better have something to do, and there's always a project or a task at hand. And I didn't struggle with that. I just it was new to me. It was like, well, it's the end of the day. Now we're relaxing. No, we got to prep for the next day. It's like, okay, always something to do, man. Always something to do. I'm like, do you ever sleep, woman? Like, do you ever sleep?
That's kind of where I'm at today.
4 hours every night.
On average, I'm like sitting down to eat. Like these days, I sit down to actually eat like at 7:30, like average. Just because there's always something to do. And the thing is, it's tricky because when you get a house, that kind of becomes like a necessity. In terms of like, as you go through there, living there for a while, things are going to start breaking. Things are going to start happening. You got to do some maintenance. You can't just sit back and do nothing. So it's like, if you sit back and do nothing, then you got like a monstrous list on your hands that you got to deal with. Like many people tend to do. Like I tend to do. So where I'm at now, it's like, I got to start chunking this down because this is going to get unmanageable. I've got this to fix. I got that to deal with. I got this to and it's tax season now. So it's like, you got to find time to sit down and deal with that paperwork and go through that. You got to carve out time for this. So I'm in that go mode. I'm in there. It wasn't always that way. I'm looking forward to maybe some time to slow down. But right now, I heard somebody say, I'll rest when I'm dead. That's where I'm at today. I'll rest when I'm dead. Funny thing is life is still good. I genuinely am not upset. It's funny, when I had less going on, I was more angry most of the time.
Angry why? Because you just weren't busy?
At life, at everything. Terrible freaking temper problem. Terrible frustration problem, walking around with the black cloud over me. That everything was just terrible. Everything was dark. I can't stand this. I can't stand that. I can't stand the job. Can't stand where I'm at, get financially, living, freaking relationship wise. Everything was terrible. And I had way less to juggle back then. Way less. When I was a kid, I used to, and maybe you ever felt this, I used to pray I'd be an adult, so all I had to do was worry about working. Now I see how silly that was.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I had similar thoughts at one point, but I don't remember ever like longing to be an adult as a kid. Yeah, I know a lot of kids do, but
I had this weird conception,
like, I remember thinking that.
When I get older, all I'm going to have to do is work. I'm not going to have to deal with any of this. And now I'm like,
yeah,
I wish all I had to worry about was homework and just walking to school. Like, I wish that's all I had to worry about.
It's funny. I left high school and I joined the Marine Corps, and it was like, I don't want to piss off any of my Marine guys and gals out there, but it's like, that wasn't even the real world. Like, like I was a adult, I guess, in the literal sense, in my 20s and things like that. But it's like, even then, like, that wasn't real life. Everything they told you, when to wake up, what to do, what to wear, what we're going to do, how to prepare for that. Here's the materials you'll need for that. And for me, that was great. I thrived in that. I enjoyed that life. And then when I got out of the Marine Corps, it was like, oh man, there's a lot more going on.
Well, drive is funny that way, in that it's a lot harder to have drive when no one's looking. You know what I mean?
I remember saying that. That's funny. Speaking of the Marine Corps, I just remember towards the end of my time in that institution, I was like, man, I'm gonna get in such great shape when I get out, because they're not going to tell me to do it. I'm going to do it on my own terms. I can do it whenever I want. I don't have to wake up at the crack of dawn and do it. I learned a lot about myself. Oh, man.
It's tough. The word discipline has been coming to my mind a lot, and it has to do with what you just said. Discipline. I'll speak as me, the individual man. That's a hard pill to swallow when you realize that there's areas in your life that you lack discipline.
Dude.
And it's tough because, I go back to different things. Everybody has their challenges. Some is financial, some is weight, some is different goals. And you can trace it back to just a lack of discipline. And it's tough. And it's tough to admit that. And it's tough to admit, like, I don't have XYZ result because I lack discipline. It's a real hard confrontational thing to deal with. It's like, no, this is my fault. This is 100% in my control.
Well, it's human nature to kind of, how do I say it?
It goes back to the nature of a child. When they get this skin knee, they fall and they say, don't look at it. Goes back to, I think, that nature that like, as long as we don't look at it, it doesn't exist and I don't have to deal with it mentally, I'm fine. I think that never goes away. I think we have hard situations that people, you know, they got a goal. I want to save a little bit more money, or my financial situation is whatever the heck. My weight situation is whatever the heck. Insert whatever your particular problem is. And the discipline side of it's tough. That word has been on my mind for a lot of different things I'm trying to improve. I'm like, it's discipline. It's discipline. Like, what's the secret ingredient? Discipline. Wanting to do it. Well, wanting and choosing, I'm going to do it. That's it. And that's a powerful thing. Like, that's a gift we've been given, that you have the ability to do what you want, in the sense of like what we're talking about here in terms of discipline. If you decide I'm going to stop eating sweets, then you just stop doing it. When I was at my most hardcore, more dedicated, like weight loss goals and stuff, like 2 years ago, when I was like super strict, the thought that made me want to even start losing weight was nothing about physical appearance, or nothing. A thought popped into my head that I felt myself personally, I felt disappointed in myself and even disgusted in a way that anything would have power over me. Like, does food tell me what to do, or do I run the show? Do I have to have the soda, or do I decide when I want to have one? Like, that started occurring to me. I was like, well, wait a minute. Am I really powerless in my life? Does food something that's so I can't choose to what I eat today? My body tells me what happens in here. Like, no, my body doesn't run my drive, my spirit. I decide what's going to happen here. And it took like a lot of mental strength to say, no, I'm not going to have. Dude, I was at a point 2 years ago when I worked right here in the Hermes. That I'd have lunch, like the double or triple stack cheeseburger, and then on the way home I'd pick up dinner, and the dinner would be another double triple stack cheeseburger. And I'm like, so who's running the show in my life? My body or Tony?
Well, it's because that food is fast and it's cheap.
It is, but it's also
That's the
again,
easier path.
Yeah, no, and a lot of times the easier one is the one that does not require discipline.
I think that's what I was saying. Like human nature, it's like we always kind of lean towards the path of least resistance. Of course,
yeah, no.
Who wants hardship and who wants to, you know what I mean? Who wants to feel uncomfortable? I don't. But a lot in many situations you have to be uncomfortable if you want those kind of results.
Or if you want the results, I have yet to see. You know, it's very cliche, but I've yet to see like these huge rewards and these huge lifestyles that you want come with no pain, come with no adversity. It just doesn't exist. I don't see it. So it's hard to go to the point of like, I'm going to push past it. I use food just because it's an easy example that a lot of people can relate to, that I can relate to. It's like, it's hard to push past it when the scale's not moving and things don't seem to have results. It's like, doesn't happen once. We talk about that with the video products. Just people, if you ever have the mindset of like, I'm going to do one video and see if it's going to explode on social media and give me 400,000 more followers, and I'm going to have 1 million subscribers, and the next month I'm going to monetize that video and I'm done. Now I'm not working anymore because I'm monetizing videos. It doesn't work that way. Life doesn't work that way. Everything is the result of a long repeated process. Repeated behavior over a long span of time is what's going to give you a result. But none of this quick, the get rich stuff, the quick result stuff, that doesn't work that way. The 7 days to be healthy, like you're healthy because you're healthy, not because you took a month to be healthy. I used to make a joke when I see people that were like ripped and fit. I'm like, why is that guy eating a salad? He don't need to eat a salad. It's like, well, he looks that way because he's eating salad. Like, that's why he looks like that. Like, not because he's knocking back donuts every other day.
Isn't it crazy about fitness? It's like every body, in terms of every person's body, is so different and needs different stuff.
Yeah, you've seen it. You got people that
one size does not fit all.
That will eat whatever and never gain a pound.
In terms of getting like that crazy physique, the tip top of your body, only you can figure that out.
And why in 2021 is there so much like confusing information as far as that goes? I get that everybody is different, but there's some general rules that should kind of be better understood. And I guess, we understand you have to burn more than you take in.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Like
you just understand that.
Here's one that I'm like, because I'm trying to get back in the saddle, as I've done about 477 times in my life. One of these times it's going to stick. Where it's like, the debate of where are all my fitness people at? It's like, is cardio good? or is weightlifting good? Like, which one's better for fat loss and all of that? And the more I've been seeing, it's more about the weights, the weight training, the strength training.
Here's the way
if you're running, dude, you're just killing your joints and your body, and you're never going to get this. And it's okay. I don't know. I don't know what to do.
It depends your goals, but the way I understand it and the way I've kind of seen results is that you lose weight in the kitchen and you gain performance in the gym. So to understand that the focus is really in the kitchen. The focus is you're going to lose the most weight from here to here. That's where you're going to lose the bulk of your weight.
Dude, I just don't want to be the guy with the food scale. I'm like measuring little slices of turkey, and it's like, okay, my metabolic intake today was this 14 grams of this, and I've drinking 40 gallons of water a day.
You could do that. There's apps for that also as well if you wanted to track what you're eating that do that for you. Or you could just freaking be intentional about what you're eating. Yeah. That's it. Just be intentional. Pick. There's going to be some research because we don't realize what we're putting in our bodies 99% of the time. We're just grabbing whatever breads and fruits and stuff like that. And every food has complex things. It's not just one ingredient.
I get sucked into those. You ever seen there's 3 different body types, ectomorph, endomorph, and the whatever morph. And it's like, I'm always sitting there. Xenomorph. I'm just like, which one am I? Like, I don't know. I wish I had a lot of money so I could just be like, train me. Train my body.
Oh, and do nothing?
I just want a trainer. Who wants to train me for free?
I don't know.
Would you ever have a personal trainer if you had the means, the time, and the money? Would you get yourself a personal trainer?
For me, as you said that, I don't think a personal trainer is going to change my discipline. I'm not a person that's motivated by somebody else telling me to do stuff. Yeah. To be honest, I will have the same amount of motivation whether I'm motivated to do it or not. I think a trainer would help me if I'm already motivated to improve on technique. But would a trainer make me get in there when I didn't want to get in there? No, not at all. That wouldn't make a difference to me whatsoever.
In my opinion, money speaks. If I'm paying a trainer and they're expecting me to be somewhere at a certain time, I'll probably get there.
I guess, but that trainer's not your boss. I mean, you could pay for a gym membership and not use it.
Oh yeah, dude, no.
So it's the same thing with a trainer.
Gym membership, dude. I've tried this.
If you pay for a trainer, you don't have to go.
Yeah. No, I'm saying it's more motivation. It would motivate me a little bit more to be like, okay, well, I paid for it. Might as well do it. As I drink my Dr. Pepper and sit with terrible posture. I gotta be better about this. Who sits like this?
The people on Shark Tank that wear back braces and such.
Like, my wife is constantly telling me, says, stop slouching, stand up and walk like this. I'm like, who walks around, shoulders back, chest out? Like, who does that? I don't know. I don't. Maybe it's because I've got terrible posture, because that takes work to do, to you know what I'm talking about?
I know how you're supposed to sit. I spent most of my life sitting like this. Mm-hmm. This is from sitting on tiny steps in front of homes. Seriously. It's just years of hanging out in front of tiny steps in front of a house. Concrete step.
I don't know what to attribute my bad posture to. I don't know. Laziness, I guess.
Well, how are you supposed to play the drums? Sitting straight up?
Are you supposed to play the drums? I don't know if there's they say to sit up. There's a great drummer
that play
has
guitar. There's
perfect
a
posture.
posture for a guitar that you're supposed to do.
There's a drummer named Max Weinberg, and he's the drummer for Bruce Springsteen. And I learned about him through the Conan O'Brien show, Late Night with Conan O'Brien. He was the drummer for many, many years on Conan's show when he was on NBC. And that dude is like, just perfect posture, and he was so good. So I used to model myself after that when I play, but it all just ends up just fucking always walking around like this. Oh my gosh. Got a lot of work to do, Tony. I've got a lot of work to do.
Everybody
got a baby coming soon. Dude, and I always play the numbers game. I'm like, all right, if the baby gets here on this day, I've got this amount of months. How long was Marine Corps boot camp? I was like, it's 3 months. I got time. I could do it. Come on, man. I'm going to put myself through Marine Corps boot camp.
That's not
unrealistic,
fair.
dude.
That's not fair.
It's unrealistic.
What were you eating back then?
When
3 months.
Marine Corps boot camp? Yeah. Oh, man.
What's the food?
That was a blur.
There's a lot of mashed potatoes, corn, and something.
Man, I can't even remember. Here's the
I'm just
one
thinking,
meal.
what's like the easy in mass things to make? Because that's probably the priority there.
Well, here's
it's
the
like,
thing.
What's the cheap
It's like
easy,
grilled chicken, salads, and vegetables. Like that's the thing, right? I don't know. That's not what we were eating in Marine Corps diet. I'm trying to remember. So here's something. It's like it was like every other Friday or something like that in the chow hall. They would have a burger and a hot dog and some like baked beans, like Americana barbecue style.
That's cool.
Backyard food. And they would do that like every 2 weeks on Fridays. And that's the one meal I can remember. But again, we were eating a lot. We were eating big meals 3 times a day. But again, we were being slayed physically every single day. So, I mean, from the moment you wake up, it was just you were running everywhere. First of all,
you're gonna die
running.
if you're not eating gigantic meals for the amount of running we're about to do.
Start running. Can you imagine if that translated to the real world? You just get up and just everywhere you're going, it's just like life or death in terms of speed. That would be wild. Oh my goodness, man. I've been thinking a lot about my time in the Marine Corps lately, man. You ever do this as a mental exercise? Just go and like try to put yourself back in the past and just try to remember as much detail as you can. You ever do that? I've been trying to, I saw a video on like just like training your brain to just try to hold on to these memories as long as possible. And it's like, go back in time, find a day that you remember and try to just like recreate the room and recreate what things look like and how deep can you go? And I've been having a lot of fun with that. Just from my time in the Marine Corps and especially basic training at Parris Island. Like, what did that squad bay look like? Do you remember what the guy that slept below you looked like? And I'm like, no, not really. But it's a fun exercise to try to, go back in the recesses of your mind and try to like pick out detail and stuff. And it's been a lot of fun. I do remember the smells at Parris Island. There's a very distinct smell there. And it's like a combination of things. It's aqua velva, the smell of rubber canteens, like that plasticky rubber canteen smell, and then just sweaty gym bodies. You know the smell, the gym smell. You know what I'm talking about, the locker room smell. It's not like a funky smell, but it's got a little funk to it. And that's what I remember. So whenever every once in a while, I'll smell like some guy's cologne or like aftershave or something, and it just smell will bring me back to that moment. And I remember going back to Parris Island years later. To perform there when I was in the Marine Drum and Bugle Corps. We went back to Parris Island. It was the first time I had gone back to the island since boot camp. And I remember getting off the bus and it was just like immediately it just like washed over me, this freaking smell. And I was like, oh man, that's right. I almost forgot. It's wild, man. It seems like an alternate universe, dude. You ever think about like times in your life that just, do you ever have anything like that where it's like your time where it's like, man, it seems like an alternate universe. Like, did that happen? That just seems so far back to me.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
19 through 26.
That little
alternate universe.
Yeah, no, that's about the time I was in the Corps. Yeah, 18, 19 to my late 20s, like 28.
Yeah. We were talking about that the other day out front. 19 through 26. It's a whole different state of mind.
Yeah.
I still say people don't like the core who you are kind of does not waver, but there's a lot of things we can shed in that onion of life that you can mold and adapt and improve. And I'm on that quest.
Yeah.
Did you turn that on purpose to
Sponsored by Dr. Pepper today. Are those the same companies? Or no, the Coke makes Dr. Pepper.
One is Coke and the other one's Pepsi.
Coke makes Dr. Pepper, I think, right?
Pepsi paid me more, so
tastes better.
Tastes better. We got to do like in Seinfeld or whatever the shows, they used to have the you ever notice that the different brand, they'd cover it and put like another brand that's like, you knew what they were drinking, but it was just something slightly different or whatever. I want to get that big to where it matters what I'm putting in front of the camera and where I'm not going to put it because I didn't get the sponsorship because, Coke told me you better not put a Pepsi thing up there. Like, I see that in some other shows. It's like you can't put the Ciroc there because Seagram's or whoever else makes whatever the heck said. I only want to see my bottle up there or whatever. I seen people cover this thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Shure. Yeah.
It's like, no,
Sure.
it's not. We don't know what kind of mic this is.
We know what kind of mic that is.
It's like, I want to get
That's
that
like when they
big to
cover
where-
up the Apple on the Apple MacBooks and shit. You know what I mean? It's like, come on.
A lot of people, a lot of people. That's why I got this particular case, because a lot of people purposely get that one.
Oh, with the hole for the
Yeah,
Apple.
so like, I want you to see that I got the
It's funny. Dude, there was this great
things that don't matter.
this great iPhone case. So, you know, the newer iPhones have like the little
They got the four.
they got the trifecta. Well, they got the 4 now, but it looks like the front of like a rocket launcher, and it's got Arnold Schwarzenegger holding the thing. He's like, it's from that movie Commando. You ever seen Commando? Mm-hmm. One of my favorite dumb 80s action movies of all time, and there was a great villain in that movie by the name of Bennett. And he was just like this overweight, middle-aged white dude with like a big mustache. And then you have Arnold, who was like the antithesis to that. And it was just so funny. Arnold, man. But yeah, I wanted that iPhone case for a long time. I might get it. It's called the Arnold case. and you know, I remember because, you know, you see these things on Facebook and it's like these little sponsored. It's like, look at that. It's kind of an interesting Wish.com product. But I remember seeing the Arnold case, and I just thought from, you know, because we know a little bit about that kind of thing, where it's like, I wonder how long until they get shut down.
Oh yeah,
you know
the whole like
using his likeness in the movie studio and a clip, a screenshot from their movie,
for
and
a long time, man.
It's wild, man.
They're using other people's branding and likenesses and stuff like that. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember Contra?
Mm-hmm. The game Contra? Yeah.
So it was like their likeness was pretty much used. Sylvester Stallone on Arnold Schwarzenegger on the cover of the NES game.
Oh, that's right. Looked very similar.
Yeah, it's like, you know who that is.
Yeah, that's Sly, baby.
It's like you remember who. So in Street Fighter, there's a character that has a claw. Mm-hmm. What is that character's name?
Vega.
What is that character's real name?
In the game lore?
Yeah.
Oh,
no, not in the lore. In the history of that game. That character's real name.
Oh, yeah, because they switched him. Mm-hmm. They switched him.
That character's real name is Balrog.
Was Balrog, and then they switched it with the guy that looks like
Mike Tyson.
It's a fight.
Yeah.
It's a fight.
Well, they switched that name to Balrog, gave the guy with the claw Vega, and they made the major bison, who was supposed to be Mike Tyson. So
even like back
the
then,
shuffling around of like using
so
people's
funny.
likenesses and trying to get around it, it's like
the Balrog.
You know that I seen a video of Mike Tyson now, like in this, I say now, but older Mike done boxing. They gave him the Mike Tyson Punch Out game to play. He was like, I never played this. Mm-hmm. It's nuts. It's one of the biggest NES games ever, dude. Like, he's at the height of your career.
This little wimpy white guy, he's never gonna beat me in this game. What are we talking about?
Well, you keep doing the same moves, Mike, and you will get knocked out. Like those games are great.
Oh my gosh, dude.
I got Super Punch Out. That was one of my favorites
on Super Nintendo. Yeah, that was a good one. That was where the character was like it was like wireframe. Remember in the foreground, he was wireframe so that you could see through him, so that you could.
Yeah, kind of.
I hated that. I was like, they changed it.
Yeah, no,
they messed it up.
That one was
magic is lost.
That was great. There's no more boxing games anymore.
Boxing games. I remember Fight
Everything
Night.
is MMA.
Are you into MMA? Is this a thing that you enjoy watching? I haven't been drawn to it.
No, here's the thing. I'm a hypocrite in this. I'll admit it first. I think MMA is too brutal for me. But I like boxing. I just think MMA takes it a little too far for me. So I don't keep up with it I don't keep up with it. I don't. I'll see highlights here and there on Facebook, and some stuff is interesting. But the whole hitting with elbows and like hitting somebody while they're on the ground and stuff like that, I'm like, I don't know. For me, I don't want to disrespect, because I got a lot of friends that love it. I'm not trying to be,
I feel the same way.
I'm not trying to knock anybody to whatever. That's your thing. For me, it's like too brutal. It's too like, I think we're evolved society beyond that for me.
But how much those guys are making. Are they making a lot of money?
I preface that they're making a ton of money.
Like boxers?
I preface that with I'm a hypocrite because I watch boxing. So I'm not going to get into a big tit for tat argument about it, but that's just a little too far for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's degrees of things.
Yeah, no, those guys make a ton of money though. Conor McGregor and I don't know too many other big names, but I know Conor was a huge draw for the longest. I like that guy, Khabib Nurmagomedov.
No nonsense, all business.
I just like the way, I like the way he was a young guy, and he kind of like carried himself like a grown man. Like, I'm not with all the lot of yelling back and forth. Like, his thing was like, when we get in the ring, I'm gonna smash your boy. Like, that's it. Like, it's just gonna happen. They got clips of him talking to people in the ring. You seen that? Like he'll be fighting him and telling them, like he was like, you know, I'm gonna beat you. Like, you know, I'm going to win. I'm going to win. Like just
Psychological
just give
warfare.
Up. Just give up. I'm going to win. And then like in between rounds, he'd be talking to Dana, the owner. He's like, Dana, when are you gonna start my next fight? Like when are you gonna set that up?
Oh
wow.
wow.
And don't send me no BS contract either. Like I'm ready for the next one.
That's funny.
And then Dana will yell at him like, well, you got to finish this guy first. He's like, I'm going to. I need to know when we're gonna get the next one.
Talking about beyond that. When
like,
I beat
the
him,
next
and then,
one.
yeah.
Like I'm almost done with him, and it's like,
yeah, I was never I'm not a real violent guy at all. But it's funny. When I was in basic training in the Marine Corps, there's a lot of teaching you how to do that kind of thing. And then there's the pugil stick combat that you do to train to just bring out that warrior spirit. And I just remember going, all right. But it's crazy. Like something awoke in me that day. It was like crazy. Like when you're put into a situation like that, and this drill instructor, so you put on like a flak jacket and they put on like a football helmet, basically. It was like American Gladiators. You had a long stick with the pugils on the end.
Iceman.
Yeah. Iceman, laser, blazer, taser, and all those guys. But yeah, you would. It was cool. It was like, so there was like a circular pit, and it was like covered in like the cami netting and things. It was kind of like dark in there, and there were like these little paths that would branch off, and one recruit would start over here and the other one would start over here, and so you'd run through this little tunnel looking thing so you can't see until all of a sudden you come around a corner and then you're in the pit. And so it's like when it's your time to go, the drill instructor's like, I'll never forget this, dude. He like grabbed my head and we're like at the starting area and he's just like, you're gonna go in there and I want you to go, you don't stop until we pull you off. I was just like, okay. High school. I'm like right out of high school, dude. I've been in a number of fights in school and stuff, but no, it's just it's a pretty intense moment, and it was a crazy day, dude. And then you full speed, and then you come around that corner and you see that other guy, and you're just like, ah! And then they would do like, you would fight like two people to kind of get the outnumbered kind of thing, just. And I remember getting done with that day, and I was like, that was wild. But I wonder what those drill instructors, they probably love that crap.
Probably
dude.
laughing at you guys.
Oh, they were probably loving it, dude. They probably taking little bets, dude. Like, all right.
I mean, I don't know. I'd imagine they go to bed tired. It's crap. Like they immediately, like as soon as they're done and they take the mask off and they get in that bed and fall like asleep hard.
I was talking to my wife about this the other day about, Marine Corps drill instructors and like how I was like, because when you join the Marine Corps, that's like your first exposure to a Marine. And it's like they are absolute monsters, man. These girls and these guys, they're just unreal. They're like the epitome. They all seem huge, like larger than life, personality and physical status. And their day starts at like 4 a.m. and they're done at like 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and they just get right back up and do it again. And I just remember being so tired, and I was like, these guys were like hiking for like miles and miles and miles with all this gear on. They had all the same gear, and they're running like a pack of wolves, like around the formation. I just remember looking over like, these guys are crazy. And they'll do a whole 3-month cycle, and then they have a little bit of time off. I don't know. I think it's like 1 or 2 weeks. I think it's 2 weeks.
Is the same person with you the whole time?
Mm-hmm.
That's
3 of them, 3 or 4, depends.
But are they all there with you the whole time?
No, so
because that's a way to get some rest too. It's like,
they do. So they trade off. So one
yeah.
drill instructor has to spend the night with everybody one night, so they rotate. It's like you have duty.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but it just blows my mind how like they were literal crazy people screaming and foaming at the mouth and for like 8 hours, and then they just go home and grab some takeout on the way home and go see their family. It was like a totally different world, man. I just couldn't imagine it. I have a couple of friends of mine that became drill instructors. And I'd love to sit down with them and talk about that process, because I was always just in awe of those guys. So cool, man. But yeah, MMA doesn't really appeal to me. It is a little brutal.
Yeah, I've seen a few. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it was enjoyable, but it's just like, all the time to be watching it. It's like this Friday I gotta watch it, the next day I gotta watch it. Like, it's just, I can dip in that world and kind of get out quick. Like I've had my fill. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll probably see one a year.
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah.
Boxing, I watch a few more. That tends to get stopped pretty before it gets too like damaging. Those guys in MMA, like these ears flopping off and this cut wide open and this still going. I'm like, man.
And then they hug each other afterward, which is always kind of crazy.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I don't like how and Conor's terrible at this. I don't like how disrespectful they get. I just don't have the patience for that, and maybe it's just not for me. It's some of the disrespectful things they say, and then they get done with the fight and they say it was just business. I'm like, nah, I don't forget what you said, dude.
Well, I
don't care if it was
that
business.
is the business. There's an entertainment value to it. I mean, it's like
Yeah,
my son. Dude, my
fine.
son is learning about the Colosseum, the ancient Colosseum, and what happened back then. And I told him, I was like, they used to, like, there was like combat and like fighting, and he was like, what? And I was like, mm-hmm. And I told him kind of, I was like, dude, they would like have tigers and lions out there and do all this. And he was just like, what? Can I watch some of that? I was like, no, I can't really watch some of that. When you're older, son. But it's that's the modern day version.
No, but I mean,
It's all for entertainment, man.
I get that. The trash talking to me, like some of it just goes too far.
It's entertaining.
I'm like, that's fine, but you get rocked behind that. It's like,
And they get paid.
well, you get paid until you get rocked to the point that
Where you don't get to do it anymore.
We have a saying that the brave will live as long as the cowards allow them. So it's like you have like Conor in his case was big guy can't tell me nothing, and then Khabib came through and destroyed that guy.
He's old. He's older now. I would have liked to have seen that fight when Conor was younger. I think maybe it would have went a little different.
Maybe.
That's like when Pacquiao fought old boy.
But he
Floyd.
should have, his mouth rolled to check his body couldn't cast him. So a little bit of perspective,
That's his
a little bit
shtick,
of,
though, man. Like, that's his thing.
I'm just saying that stick is disrespectful and it ain't for me. It's not for me. I don't stand behind that. It's like, we're going to fight after the ring then. Entertain me in other ways, like say something different. But some of the stuff, like when they're mentioning families and cultures, like Conor got in trouble because he was like mocking Khabib's culture. I'm like, yeah, certain things like this, you could be entertaining or whatever, but.
Do you remember the press tour that Conor and Floyd Mayweather did together? Where they like went to a bunch of different cities and had these big press
went all
conferences.
over the world. They went to Ireland and stuff like that.
Man, they cashed in, didn't they? That was so funny. That was like WWE.
Well, as far as personalities, there was two clowns there.
Yeah.
Conor and Khabib is like there's a clown and then there's a guy that's kind of a little more level headed, and there's. I get it. I mean, part of your whole thing, you got to do a promo run and stuff like that. But again, for me, it's like in the whole rap thing. There's certain things that like back in the day, we'd say that the rules are off the table. You mention whatever you want when you're being disrespectful in a rap battle, because that's what people do. It's kind of like the sport. But the reality is, there's just certain lines you don't cross. Certain things is like you might as well just stop rapping and fight then.
Social contracts
have
been broken.
Like once you say this, like let's just stop rapping and fight then. All right, we're beyond this now. So it's kind of weird.
You ever found yourself in the middle of a vicious rap battle? I have not. I will take your word for that.
I have physically fought over rap battles.
Hey man, people fight.
It's a fight.
It's a fight.
What do you want?
It's a fight. Anyway, all right. This has been a wild episode, dude. We were all over the place with this one. I like it.
Who did you fight? Who's the next person you're going to fight? Who would you like to fight?
Oh man.
Chime in below. Tag the person you'd like to fight today.
Yeah. Dude, if you're fighting and you're an adult, I'm so sorry, but I feel bad for you.
Well, we should have something worth fighting for.
A girl worth fighting for.
Nah, good. Well, it depends.
They cancel Milan next, baby. Get ready.
Well, Pepe Le Pew is gone. He's out.
Pepe's out.
I still feel confused about that.
Oh man.
Because Pepe is not a human being. Pepe does whatever.
Pepe had very human characteristics and very human emotions and human actions, though.
But Pepe does whatever you tell him to do, whatever you draw him to do. You understand? Like if you didn't like his behavior before, just draw him differently.
We were laughing about that. Tony was like, instead of just getting rid of Pepe, why don't we just
stop making him a molester?
Draw him and voice him to do other things.
Yeah, he can still be.
Stop molesting people.
That's it. Draw him different. Like we don't have to cancel it. If it was a human being and you did this to other human beings, then I get it. I'd be like, yo, like, nah, we don't need you. I know your background. You're a convicted, pedophile, whatever, right?
Yo, draw Pepe different, dude.
Draw him doing different things. It's a basketball movie. How about he play basketball? Can we do that? I love the game.
You said that the other day, and I was done, dude.
I love the game. Hop out onto that field, and I love this game so much. I mean, you don't have to go grabbing the girl or whatever. Or I said, why don't you just get Pepe married in the movie or something? That's his wife. That's doesn't have to be Pepe grabbing every single thing he sees. Like, he's not gonna. They redrew Babs Bunny, and people were upset.
Yo, this is what the hell we're worried about, people. This is news these days, man. Oh my gosh. Dude,
well,
I saw a clip.
But it's on both sides. It's on both sides because they drew Babs Bunny different to not offend people. Mm-hmm. But then you can't turn on the TV without seeing an actual grown woman in a thong and bikini, shaking her whole body. I'm not saying please draw the cartoon voluptuously so I can watch it and be entertained by that. That's not my thing. But we talk about this all the time. There's like real weird moral things. I mean, I don't need everything to be black and white, but if you're telling me that this is black and white, you're saying that this is a stance we're making on this particular thing. I just like consistency. That's all. I like it. I guess I'm never gonna get it because everyone has hypocrisies and stuff like that. But
yeah,
it's some statements are very clean cut and dry. We didn't want this to be sexualized, but then you have no problem sexualizing this over here. It's confusing to me. And I'm allowed to say I'm confused. That's it. I'm just confused. I think
I saw something.
Let's all get on the same page before we start changing everything left and right.
Somebody sent this to me, and it's along those lines.
All of this, you need to have universal views. You don't need to have universal views. I don't agree with that.
See, I don't get this. I showed you this the other day. So it's a comment on Facebook about, so Pepe Le Pew got canceled. And that's that's subject to interpretation too. What is your definition of canceled?
Well, he was canceled because they're not using him anymore.
Okay, there you go. Some dude comments and says, "I'm glad he's canceled. My children are safe." First of all, that's a ridiculous statement.
Well, he's being sarcastic from the
beginning. I'm with it. But then he goes, "Now my son can get back to playing Grand Theft Auto, where he just set a hooker on fire so he didn't have to pay her." And I go,
that's ridiculous because you can't set hookers on fire. You have to run them over in the game.
Yeah, you can't. Well, it depends on what version of Grand Theft Auto.
You have to go find the bat and beat them on the ground until the money pops out of their head.
Hey, parents, you're in control. Just remember that you're in control. You're in control, or at least you should be. If you are outraged that Pepe is canceled, you can go find him elsewhere, and you can let your children watch Pepe Le Pew. Same thing with Dr. Seuss. The 5 books that they are no longer publishing, that the publisher decided that they're not going to publish anymore, they're still out there. Go buy them on eBay. Go get. They're not coming in. Like I told you this yesterday. They're not coming in and putting a black bag over your head, and now you can no longer be a parent. Be a parent, man. Be a parent. You're in control. You're in control. They're not. Well, there aren't mass book burnings, and the government is coming into your house and saying, "Where are those Dr. Seuss books? Give them to us, or else."
Well, I guess I get what you're trying to say, but
the outrage is there, man. Like
I get what you're trying to say, but we say the government's not going to go into the house until they do. And a lot of these issues. Well,
anything could happen. You could say that about anything.
Anything can happen. And that's
so
why that's why there's checks and balances, and that's why it's necessary for there to be a push-pull in America. Mm-hmm. A lot of people will complain about the way America is and complain about the two-party system, but the good thing that the two-party system has is that regardless of how frustrated you are for the 4 to 8 years that your favorite football team is in power, there is a push-pull. There is a correction. There is some type of like happy medium somewhere. How broad that is varies, but it sometimes goes back. Because I do believe that we look at historically, there have been instances where we could easily say, where are all these people that are breaking into homes? Where are all these people rounding up Jewish people? Where are all these people that the government is really going to go after and the military is really going to start rounding up Jews? Are you freaking serious? Come on, man. Like, show me all the data that says that Jews are about to get rounded up until they're rounded up and gassed. Is that going to happen again? I absolutely hope not. But did it happen before? It did. And is humanity capable of doing that? I think so, 100%.
That's why we got to get to the bottom of this Mr. Potato Head thing. We got to get this thing figured out.
No, not the Mr. Potato Head, but when we say,
I'm just messing around.
Like a lot of times it's easy to like, because I hear this a lot from different people actually. Where are all these people this? Where are all these situations of that? It's like, America's enormous. America's huge. It could be a very real issue in New Jersey. It could be a very real issue in Wyoming. We're fortunate. I think we're incredibly blessed to live in Virginia Beach. It's incredibly diverse. Virginia, the state, is incredibly diverse. You go to different parts and it's a whole freaking different country.
Most states are like that. Most states are like that. You go
here, it's so diverse. It's like this. I feel real fortunate that we are insulated to away from a lot of the world's problems. We have a good thing going on over here. We don't have correct me if I'm wrong, we don't have the sweeping police brutality issues that I find in other states. So one could logically say, if you live in Virginia, and I heard a person say, where are all these people getting beat up by cops? I get it. Where you are, you don't necessarily see it. There's a broader spectrum out there, though. There's more data and there's more information out there. The outrage thing, I'll ask you this. Do you think thought is being policed? Thought is now being policed.
No, I don't think thought is being policed. I think what people are saying is being pretty hardcore policed.
Well,
saying and writing. I don't know about thought.
They're expressing their thought. I guess it's the same thing, just saying it differently. People's expression.
When I think thought, I think the things you think about.
Well, yeah, but when you think about them, you typically articulate them, and they're being policed.
Well, it depends on what I'm thinking.
We're constantly being kind of under scrutiny for different reasons in different ways. There's good and bad to that. We talked about it the other day. When employers I got a side where I believe that a private business should be able to do whatever they want. I get that.
Yeah, I'm with that. 100%.
But then the reality is,
as a business owner, I'm with that.
But the reality is, they should be able to do what they want to an extent. Just in very literal terms, I got a private business. If I say I'm going to pay you, I have to pay you. That's just I have to. There is no it's my business. If I decide not to pay you, I'm not going to do it. It sounds ridiculous.
But you can fire somebody, right? Like
right.
If we had an employee and they did something that we were like,
but you'd still have to pay them for the work they did.
Well, sure.
So there's certainly it's well sure because it's just obvious, right?
But
there's certain things that's it's obvious. An employer should not be able to tell you cannot say this, that, and the other. That's a very firm reality. We have a constitution that's written that says you have a freedom of speech. It's tough. There's a gray area there because if what you're saying is putting my company at risk now, I got to kind of break away from you then, because you are now going to tank an entire company. I have thousands of employees. You are one. I'd rather deal with the legal fallout of dealing with you than the risk 1,000 people. I get that. It's a very difficult fine line because I'm one that I see an injustice. Like I believe, was it Martin Luther King? I think he said an injustice for one is an injustice for all. Just because it doesn't affect me today doesn't mean it's not going to affect me 3 years from now. Doesn't mean it's not going to affect maybe my kids. So I'm real careful whenever these things happen. It's like, I just watched them. Am I mad Dr. Seuss got taken off the shelf? I don't care. I wasn't reading Dr. Seuss. I don't care. I'm not saying it's not important to anybody else. I don't care. It's not my battle. Pepe Le Pew, I had completely forgot Pepe Le Pew existed until Space Jam was called out, and I forgot Pepe Le Pew was in Space Jam, to be completely honest. Didn't really bother me too much. I know Bugs Bunny's there. I was like,
are kids watching those kind of? I'm sure there are. There are
the old school,
the old school cartoons. But are they I'd like the majority? I wonder if the majority is watching it. I guess it depends on the parents.
Well, here's what I think the chess move should have been from Warner Brothers. The chess move should have been, you put Pepe Le Pew there, and he doesn't kiss a single person, and then let people get upset and say, I really wish that cartoon was out there molesting people. What happened? That's how you do it.
Yeah, where's the Pepe I know?
I think Pepe comes out. He has the funny voice. He still falls in love with one girl, whatever, and he doesn't have to be grabbing her and kissing her like against her will. You just do it. And then that's how you make a critique of society.
Yeah.
You don't have to completely cancel everything, but that's a chess move right there. It's like, he's going to be different. Now, if you complain, you're the one that looks crazy.
Well, that's like the Potato Head. They said, we're going to change.
Well, they just wanted to make it Potato Head, right?
Potato Head. And then everyone got really, really mad. Like, really mad.
Well, I think the people, I think some of the people that got mad might have been just saying that, how far do things go? It might, Potato Head is silly. This is
how it starts.
Potato Head is silly, right? Well, it kind of, we have gone down a certain route where people are telling you what to say and can't say. And that's just one tiny symptom. Potato Head is silly by itself, but with a bunch of different instances where you could pick out, like, you follow a thread of different instances, you could start to see a pattern.
Well, it's like you said recently, if you want to go down that rabbit hole and look to how bad it could be, and you want to look for the devil, you'll find it.
Yeah. And that's to say, and to use that analogy, though, that's not to say that the devil does not exist.
Oh no, that's not what I meant. I'm just saying
you'll find it, but also some of those things. It's like I think we all agree we're in a very delicate time. We're in a very delicate time where you have to be incredibly careful with what you say, because it can really affect your personal ability to seek livelihoods, to seek fair income and wage. People go after you. Mike Vick fought some dogs and he went to jail. He paid fines. He went on a whole mea culpa run where he was making shows, doing interviews. How many times is he going to say, I feel horrible about it. I'm a horrible person for doing that. I'm going to make a rescue service now. We're going to do all these things. And people still say he didn't deserve to play the game. We're in a situation now.
But he did. He was able to, and came back and had a second chance at a career, and he's doing fine.
But how much did he have to go through just to get to the point? It's like how much more do I have to do? I'm of the thought that if the court tells you that you have to go to jail for a year and you do a year in jail, you should be able to move on after that year. If that was not sufficient, then make it 4 years, make it 5 years. But if the year was not sufficient, once a person comes out, they should be able to just continue with their life. I believe that 100%. That's the problem with the jail system now. The whole criminal justice system is a complete joke, because you come out and you can't find a way to live your life because there's so many other ramifications that go on outside of jail. Now you can't go find a job because there's this box that says if you're a felon, you can't go, you're disqualified from different jobs. So my best recourse is to go back to doing what got me in jail in the first place. That's why the recidivism rate is like 75 or 80%. It's like something wild.
Yeah, I was looking at that the other day with my wife. We were looking at those numbers.
It's
and it was
nuts.
Like, damn.
And it's not that these people are so bored and I want to go hurt people. Sometimes, and it's not even necessarily violent and stuff like that. It's like sometimes it's just, what else was I supposed to do? I need money right now. I get that applying for a job and waiting 3 weeks for an interview and then waiting for a month for my start date, that's the way to do stuff. But what I do right now, what I do at this exact moment? At this exact moment, I can go grab that drug and sell it to that guy that wants it. I got to eat today. What do I do? And that's a lot of times that's the choice people are left with. That's horrible. There's always a better choice. There's always something better to do, seek help, go whatever. But I get it. I'm not saying it's right, but I understand how those situations can come about. But yeah, no, I think for sure free speech is being challenged. It's not necessarily a 100% bad thing. I think people should watch their mouth. I think people are very reckless. People are very reckless.
Yeah, like I wouldn't go on the internet and post really crazy stuff. I just first of all, I wouldn't do that anyway, because it's just not in my character to kind of do that. But I know that there are ramifications. I've known that my whole life. This isn't like a new thing, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean?
I just want companies to understand that just because you disagree with my opinion does not mean I should be fired. And that's not always what's happening, but we're seeing these things lean that way.
I'll tell you what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of celebrities and people of power getting not attacked, but those are the people that we're seeing. That's what's making headlines. I always like to think about, would that happen to us?
I think it would. I think those things happen to them to let the rest of us know.
Let's talk about the Cara Dune from what's her name from Disney, the lady from Mandalorian. Yeah, she posted whatever about the Hitler and the Jews and that whole thing. I wonder if I posted that. I wonder if I would lose my job over there.
You'd have to ask them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's very possible.
Are you allowed?
I think it's absolutely possible.
Can you be posting that kind of crap?
I know some companies will flat out tell you that your social medias are being policed and you need to give them that information.
It's funny. The defensive coordinator for the Washington football team.
Are those cards good?
What cards?
On the camera?
Oh, I have no idea. You want to check real quick? I'll check
real quick. Yeah. We're going to do a check.
We're going to do a check. Here we go.
Stop it for 2 seconds. All right, good. Because these cards have a limit, right? And it would suck to be talking for like 10 minutes over it and there was no end.
I don't even know what the hell I was talking about. Whatever. Football. It's not football. The defensive coordinator for the Washington football team was like a diehard Trump guy and a big-time conservative. And he was posting a lot of, he was retweeting a lot of like kind of, he was retweeting a lot of stuff. He was tweeting a lot about certain things. And they were trying to, like the players were coming after him like, yo, like, what are you doing? And he basically was just like, what? Mm-hmm. And he was a great defensive coordinator, and he was a great coach. When he stepped onto the field, he had a great relationship with these players. He did a great job. Defense played really well, and then that was the last we heard of it. But like, it's interesting. It's almost like, like with the Disney thing, it's like, man, you had a really good point the other day where it's like, well, she did that, but then this guy did this. Pedro Pascal said this, and nothing. Crickets.
And it's just, here's the thing. And maybe in life, we will critique people through the lens of our own experience, and we would judge people based on the way we judge ourselves. That's just the way we are in life. I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong right now, and others can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe I'm capable of 2 different thoughts at once. I believe I'm capable of 3 different thoughts at once. I will give a very clear example. I am Christian. I believe in God. I do not feel uncomfortable, or I don't feel the exact pressure to work with people that are only Christian. And I take that experience in my mindset, and when I see somebody get upset because that person said a pro-Trump tweet, I'm like, you're not capable of 2 thoughts at once? Can we not do a job here? And when we're doing this job, we're talking about Star Wars and aliens and stuff like that. And I know you're pro-Trump. I get that. But right now, I just want your skill in front of the camera. That's all I'm here for at this moment. That's awesome that you're pro-Trump. You're going to catch a lot of flack. What I can do is make a statement and say, Gina Carano does not speak for Disney. We believe in this. She believes in Trump. That's awesome. She's got her own hill she wants to die on by herself. She doesn't speak for us.
Right.
I wish that's the way society was more often. Because
I
that's
think
the
it
lens,
happens a lot like
that's the
that.
lens I live my life.
I think that, we are starting to see more people get canned for this kind of crap, though, for sure.
And I don't get it. Bill Burr was saying the same thing. He's like, do I now have to watch every single thing I say? And that's just...
It's funny. Comedians are allowed to do a lot more.
Yes and no.
Because they can say, well, it's funny.
Well, Kevin Hart got
bullied for that,
too.
It's a joke.
Yes and no. It depends the joke.
Oh, and it depends on the comedian.
It depends who you go after.
Depends on your status, your
There's certain
stature.
groups you can't joke about. I don't even want to say certain groups, but you and I have talked behind the scenes about there are certain groups now that demand certain treatment, but you can't say a joke about them. I don't understand that. If we all want to be treated equal, then we will all get joked equally. That's the thing. That's part of being equal, right?
You are all equally worthless, as they say in the Marine Corps.
For real.
Doesn't matter where you came from, what you look like, where your skin color. Everybody's worthless.
Equal opportunity offender.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm with it.
So I'm just like, let's be capable of distinct thought, man. I got friends that are super, super liberal. I got friends that are super, super Republican. And I sit in the middle leaning towards Republican, and I don't care. I don't care what the people think, what you do in your house. Like I truly compartmentalize. Like when I walk in my house, this is where we have control of the way things are. This is how we, control what we think, what we believe religiously, what we believe morally, politically. I don't get upset and say I can't talk to so-and-so because he was pro-Trump. That's never really occurred to me. Like it doesn't. And again, when I see that, I'm like, so really, that's the way the world's gonna work. If I say I voted for Biden or I voted for Trump, now you don't want to deal with me? Honestly, I don't want to deal with people that think that way then. I'm the one that's going to cancel you then. I cancel the cancelers. Like for real. Like, nah, I got nothing to do with you. If you're that silly and that sensitive and we got to do kid gloves and stuff like that, I don't have time for that. I don't. What are you pulling up?
Oh, that's the name of this episode.
What? I don't have time for that?
I cancel the cancelers.
I
want to make sure I didn't forget.
Let's go. I cancel the cancelers.
Yeah.
Man.
All right, man. That's good. That's good for today. I want to talk more about Pepe Le Pew next time.
No, we can't because he doesn't exist.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Never mind.
All right. Hold on.
Pepe who?
Moment of silence for Pepe Le Pew. I'm Tony.
I'm Matt.
This is the Tsunami Podcast.
Rest in peace, Pepe.
That's Lumiere.
That is Lumiere.
Cancel Lumiere.
Cancel Lumiere.
Nah, for real, you gotta cancel.
He was on that dust.
The
duster.
Yeah, he was chasing people, molesting them too. Cancel Lumiere.
This week, I'm going to dedicate a lot of my time, more time than it should be. I'm going to go back on all these old movies, baby. I'm going to
tell you everybody you need to cancel,
and then we're going to cancel them all, baby. Let's get after it. Let's do it. Okay, let's go. I'm going right now.